Hi, friends. Today's episode is called When Zack Found a Treasure and Gave Away One. The whole story is about a personal encounter between an important person and somebody ordinary in the crowd. Maybe you know this story because this celebrity suddenly asked the person, I want to come to your house. So this reminds me of when Pope John Paul came to our city in Pune in 1986. And I really, really wanted to go and attend the Mass and at least just look at him. But unfortunately, I could not because I was expecting my second baby at that time. I was due, almost due. I'd like you to just go through an imaginative exercise. Just imagine that Pope Francis was coming to your town or your city, and you spent the whole night in the stadium where the mass was to be held because you wanted to have a place. And then finally the mass happened, and at the end of the mass, imagine that an official came up to you and said His Holiness would like to meet you personally for 15 minutes. Now, what would your reaction be? How would you feel? Very special, very important, maybe nervous? I'd like to show you a small clip of an actual encounter between Pope Francis in a small poor parish in Rome.
Dai.
That means go on, go on. I can't do it.
Vieni da me, Emanuele.
Come to
Vieni
me,
da me e dimmi
Emmanuel,
all'orecchio.
and
Dimmi
whisper in my
all'orecchio.
ear.
Vieni da me.
Come.
Vieni da me. Vieni. Ecco, va bene. Poco tempo fa è
Emmanuel
venuto a
asked
mancare mio
a
papà.
little while
Lui era
ago,
ateo,
his father
ma
died. He was a
ci ha
non-believer,
fatto battezzare a
but he
tutti e
had
quattro
all four of
figli.
his children baptized.
Era un uomo
He was
bravo.
a good man.
È in cielo, papà?
His dad in heaven,
Non era credente,
his
ma
father wasn't a
ha
believer,
fatto
but he had
battezzare i
his children
figli.
baptized.
Aveva il cuore
He
buono.
had a good heart.
Chi dice chi va in cielo è
The one who
Dio.
says,
Ma com'è il cuore di
what's
Dio
God's
davanti a un
heart
papà così?
like with a dad
Com'è?
like that?
Cosa
What do you
vi
think?
sembra a voi? Un cuore di
A
papà.
father's heart.
Dio ha un cuore di
God
papà.
has a dad
E davanti a un papà che
a
non
dad who was not a
credente
believer, but who
è stato
baptized his
capace di
children.
battezzare i figli. Voi pensate che
Do you think
Dio
God would be able to leave him far
sarebbe
from
capace di
himself?
lasciarlo lontano da te? Pensate quello?
Do you think? Speak
Ma
up.
forte, con coraggio.
Come on.
Dio abbandona i suoi
Does
figli?
God abandon his children
Dio abbandona i suoi figli quando sono
when they are
bravi?
good?
Ecco, Emanuele,
There,
questa è la
Emmanuel,
risposta.
that is the answer.
Dio
Surely God was
sicuramente era
proud of
fiero
your
del tuo
father.
papà,
It
perché
was
è
a
più
bit easier
facile,
as a
essendo
believer
credente,
to
battezzare i
baptize your
figli
children
che
than to
essendo
baptize
non
them when you
credente
are not a
battezzarli.
believer.
E sicuramente a Dio questo è piaciuto tanto. Parla con tuo papà.
Pope Francis didn't actually answer the boy's question, "Is my Father in heaven?" Because no one can really judge a person except God. Only God can see what is in someone's heart. But the Pope did leave a very precious message through his very body language, through his actions and his words. He said, God is more loving and kind than we can imagine. He wants to save each one. He sees the good in a person's heart. Today's gospel shows us the same thing. It's not a story that Jesus told like we had in the last few weeks, but something that actually happened. It's about a man called Zacchaeus and how he found a treasure. You can figure out what that treasure is. Pay attention because we will have some questions to help us get into the story. A reading from the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 19. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through it. A man was there named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. He was trying to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not because he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him, because he was going to pass that way. When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried down and was happy to welcome him. All who saw it began to grumble and said, He has gone to be the guest of one who is a sinner. Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, Look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor. And if I have cheated anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much. Then Jesus said, Today salvation has come to this house, because he too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek out and save the lost. The word of the Lord. There are 12 questions. You can give yourself points if you get them right. So, in which city did this story take place? Jericho, Jerusalem, Capernaum. Say the answer loud and see if you got it right. The answer is Jericho. It was a very big and beautiful city. Who was Zacchaeus? You can choose as many answers as you think are right. A rich man, a Roman, a tax collector, a Jew. Yes, he was a very rich man. He was the chief tax collector, very important. And he was a Jew, but he helped the Romans. He worked for them by collecting taxes. Why did he climb a tree? He liked climbing. He was short and couldn't see. He wanted Jesus to see him. He was short and he couldn't see. Zacchaeus never expected Jesus to notice him, and anyway, he didn't think that Jesus would want to know someone like him. So he just wanted to see him, catch a glimpse. What was the first surprising thing that happened when Jesus looked up and started talking to Zacchaeus? The first thing, Jesus called out his name. This was shocking because Zacchaeus must have said, How does he know me? He's just entered our town. I've never met him. How can he know me? And then Jesus said something even more shocking. What did he say? Fill in the words. He said, Come down quickly because I must stay at your house today. Zacchaeus was totally shocked, I'm sure, because first of all, Jesus knew him, he knew what he was like, and still he wanted to be his friend. And he must have just slipped and slid down the tree and grazed himself also. And he joyfully took Jesus to his house. Scholars say that it must have been one of the grandest and richest houses in town. Now, what happened to the crowd? How did the other people react? Cheered and clapped, joined the party, grumbled. They grumbled. And why did they grumble? Any ideas? Because Zacchaeus was considered a sinner, and good Jews did not visit sinners. So, what was Jesus doing there? Was he a good man? Now, after Jesus came to his house, something happened to Zacchaeus. Something changed in him, and he stood up and made a promise to Jesus. What did he promise? You can choose any number of answers if you think they are right. To follow him wherever he went, to give half his money to the poor, to give back what he had taken, to be baptized, to give half his money to the poor, and to give back what he had taken by cheating 4 times as much. Zacchaeus realized that he couldn't carry on with his cheating. Actually, right now, he didn't even want to because he no longer loved his money and his riches. His heart was full of something else. What was the treasure that Zacchaeus had discovered? What was so precious that he was ready to give up his other treasures? The treasure was Jesus' friendship. When he realized that Jesus wanted to know him personally, to be his actual friend, best friend, that was wonderful for him. Now, when Jesus saw the change in Zacchaeus, he said something. What did he say? Today, salvation has come to this house, for the Son of Man has come to seek and save the lost. Who are the lost whom Jesus has come to save? Any idea? Everyone, even you and me. Okay, so Jesus, like he knew Zacchaeus, he knows each one of us. He calls each one of us by name. He invites himself to our house and he wants to save us. He wants to be our closest friend. Now, an important question, and the last question. If Jesus came for everyone, how is it that only some people are saved? Let's look at Zacchaeus. What did he do that helped him to receive Jesus's saving help, to be saved? Ideas? He accepted Jesus. He welcomed him to his house, not only to his house, but into his life. He valued Jesus. He felt that Jesus was more precious. His friendship was more precious than anything else. And he repented. That means he turned away from whatever would keep him away from Jesus. So let's think about ourselves now. Close your eyes and be quiet for a few minutes. Imagine that you are up in the tree and you're hoping to see Jesus as he passes by. Imagine that you see Jesus walking closer and closer, and then when he's just below you, he looks up straight into your eyes and he calls you by your name. And he says to you, "Did you know that I know you? I have always known you. even when you were a tiny baby in your mother's womb. I know everything about you. And I want to be your friend. I want to live with you. I want to talk to you and listen to you. I want to help you when you're troubled. Do you believe this? Can I come to your home? Can I be your friend always? Pause this video and talk to Jesus. Give him your answer. Something to do this week. Every day, spend a little time alone with Jesus. This is the way to welcome Jesus, like Zacchaeus did. Actually, this is not only for this week, this is for always. And another nice thing you could do, like Zacchaeus, you could think of something you can do for the poor and then do it. Maybe invite some poor person for a meal. You decide. So bye for now. God be with us all. See you next week.